Boop 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 boop. Welcome one and all to Sparks channel. Hopefully I'm coming in good, coming in decent, coming in clear. Um, well. So we find ourselves here today in this day and age, 2025, year of our Lord and Savior, Jesus, not to be confused with ye. I don't need you, go away. What I do need is not an enema, but something fun to go over. So well, I wouldn't say fun, but what I want to say is to point out some hypocrisy about the internet. Something that maybe we've all experienced over the last maybe 20, 30 years of the internet's existence, or even further when you think about it. After all, I am probably the replacement critical thinker here for Twitch, especially since Asmon's gonna be away for 6 months. So opportunity presents itself. Sure, why not? If not, then whatever. Everyone's subjective opinion's gonna be replaced by their ego anyways, yada yada. But there were some interesting things that I've experienced that I would like to share with everybody, right? Given some context and everything else, going over some maybe different parts of the world, whether global politics or like cooking, I don't automotive stuff, cars, anything, literally anything. I've been paying attention way too long. I'm definitely just as chronically as online as the rest of you. Guaranteed. Even more so than Asmund. Okay? Granted, I used to actually be a viewer of him for a while. Up until the last election. Where, I mean, granted, he already stated this about his character that, he has some tendencies to be a little spiteful, angry, yada yada. There's some parts of his character that basically influences him to have the wrong idea about things. And also, I mean, not even just that, but just how the internet is, the content that we're served on a platter every single day. It's all relative, and everything that you experience as you, the chatter, the individual, the person, hi, hello, okay? Everything you experience does end up determining your character in some way, depending on how you react, depending on how you perceive it, depending on how you live through it, right? It's just a fundamental fact of reality. And as the once wise, but still kind of wise, I want to say, Grok has said, facts over feelings. The truth hurts, right? And it's something that I personally would rather preach because I want to be able to exist. I want to be able to stay in reality, right? I want the human race to survive maybe another few centuries at least. There is a legitimate concern when it comes to the grand scheme of things and the patterns that have been shown and just obvious right in front of our faces in reality, no matter which country that you're looking at right now at this point. Everything is just there's a pattern. The only difference is that there's technology involved, right? There's science, there's metal, atomic, the autonomous robots, and all this other stuff. Like we're in the future, right? Back to the Future. We're past that. We're past whatever year that was friggin' looking at. We already got hoverboards, right? We got people that can fly on drones. There's a lot of things that have been going on exponentially within the past 10 years that lends itself to those depictions of the future from 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It's just more macabre. It's more plain. It's not as exciting, and it's frustrating. It's aggravating. And I feel you. I absolutely get that. So I'm going to bring up chat in case anyone even shows up. If not, I'm going to be forwarding this onto YouTube regardless. If it gets any traction, sick. If not, how I feel about it. Hopefully my mic's working in accordance. Do. I'm not gonna sit here at least today and play games. In fact, I might not even stream again. I've had a lot of shit going on in my life too. It's It's hard to be a parent. It's hard to be dealing with the economy and the job crisis these days, right? I've been sitting in lieu of a few interviews at this point. I have another interview later, and it's been tough. Um, in all honesty, there's a little bit of personal information. I've was supposed to be getting unemployment for the last 2 months. Was supposed to be. I haven't. I haven't gotten anything. I have no income at all. I'm not asking for your pity. I'm not asking for your donations or anything like that. I'm just letting you know my experience, the shit that I'm dealing with. Right? Beginning of the year, I had a stroke, February 1st. Friggin', I was able to catch that shit early. Luckily, I hallucinated. Thought my daughter was friggin' telling me, "Please don't go." It was very, very. I don't even want to talk about it too much because I'm gonna get upset. But it was scary. Like, I felt the whole left side go on me. Mind you, I'm only in my early 30s. I'm not that old yet. At standards a century ago, I'd be dead by now. But today's day and age, with technology and science, not so much. And luckily, I did call 911, get an ambulance, take care of myself when I needed to. Because if I didn't, I could have died. Genuinely, I would have been dead. So, I'm lucky for that. The second thing is, I had a precancerous polyp pulled out of my colon. My family, on my mother's side, at least I knew at the time, my grandmother died of colon cancer. So I was already kind of aware that there was issues. And up until about March, or well, up till the stroke, really, because I was stressed out about a lot of shit. I was feeling gut pain on my right side, which that wasn't the polyp, that was something else, which I will explain in a minute. But I just didn't act on it because I had to work, I had stress, I had to take care of my family, I had to drive for my family, the only one that drives. Like, not main source of income. I had to cut my hours down because I have to do so much chauffeuring at this point. It's tough. It is tough. It is the situation that I'm in. Is I've done as much as I can, and which is part of the reason why I'm here, even communicating to you, even saying anything, right? So it's just me being me. And if you don't appreciate that, if you don't give a shit, I get it. This world has almost no empathy left. Everyone has their own problems. I absolutely get that. But I want to be here to help at least facilitate some sort of understanding so that you know what to do next. So you can at least think for yourself, right? And with the polarization and everything else politically, emotionally, in society, it sucks. So, back to at least my story, real quick. I had a precancerous polyp pulled out because I actually tended to the pain that I was feeling, right? It got so bad, and I was so stressed and so worried and just so run down that I just had to. I have a daughter to take care of. I have a family. I'm expecting another, depending. That's a whole other thing. It's stressing me out, but I can only do so much. I have no income in this. It's either this or join the Gestapo at this point, and I'm not doing that. All right, I'm all about preserving existence. I respect existence, even if you're a malicious piece of shit. There's ways to deal with that that don't end up having to be like the very end point of just I don't want to do that. I don't want to facilitate that. I don't want to promote any of that. That is not what I'm about. That's not how humanity should be about. We should be responsible and accountable for what we need to do sooner rather than later because it all builds up to a boiling point as we've seen in history. So, given that logic, I apply that to myself. I took care of myself. I had precancerous polyp. Luckily, it was just transforming. So if I waited any longer, I would have been in serious trouble. Got that pulled out, taken care of. I also found out that I had a rare form of sigmoid diverticulosis, which is like a bacterial pocket, and it was rare because it was in my descending colon, or no, ascending, the right side of my body. So typically it happens toward your rectal area, but mine was on the opposite side, like going toward where my stomach is. And it was because I wasn't eating well. I'm poor as shit. I've been struggling for a long freaking time. And it doesn't matter how smart you are, especially these days. It doesn't matter. I went to college. I have so much debt that I can't keep up with. So many other things I can't keep up with because I just simply don't have the time. This is the best I can do right now until something better happens. And I'm working on a bunch of other things in the background in regards to music, with regards to another artist. I at least need to preface this to, like, I might not even be on Twitch that long because I have to take time to finish what I started over there too. But I'm here now to at least post this and to let the community know what's going on and at least what I'm about. So, regardless of me being inconsistent of even speaking, because it's just this whole jumbled mess, and that's probably part of the reason why my life's so fucked up, because I struggle keeping focus because there's always so much going on. So much that I have to deal with, and I'm just been stretched so friggin' thin. Probably like the rest of you as well. A lot of us have been stretched so fucking thin to a point where it's like you either join a death squad or you get sent to a death camp. That's hyperbole, obviously, but not far fetched as we've seen everything else going on in the world, right? Whether it's in the United States or in any other country, really. I can't even really name many other countries because privacy is about to be gone too. Like, this is why face reveal, sub follow. If you give a shit, then sure. If not, then I'm sure someone's gonna know who I am by the end of today. Privacy is gone. Censorship's gone, especially tomorrow when the whole YouTube AI thing happens, which my channel might not even exist anymore because of that. And depending on how people are gonna have to handle that. So art and media, all this stuff, being able to express opinions online as a form of income, as news, everything is about to be destroyed. Like, just fundamentally. Not even just free speech, but a source of income. We're getting pushed to a point where humans are going to have to fight because we're not being left with many other options of communication, right? It's scary. It's something I don't want to have to deal with. I don't want to end up dying and not being able to see my family grow up. It's a legitimate concern. I'm blessed to be in the position that I'm in, even if it is like a shit time right now compared to what other people across the world are going through. But this is the point. It's like we need to recognize this. We need to recognize such suffering. We need to recognize humanity again as what it is. As we are all human. And this is the other problem, is that people have relied on technology for so friggin' long that people just expect things to happen instantaneously, whether you're a person or whether you're a robot or a smartphone. It's insane. The expectations are just too high, especially from those with millions and billions of dollars that expect people under them to be doing certain things and acting certain ways. It's ridiculous. World leaders, everything. It's just humanity's gone out the window, and it's been a great giant concern of so many people, especially nowadays, because a lot of things are repeating. Predictive history has been picking up on this. Other channels have been picking up on this. I'm not the only one talking about this. I might not be exact in the words I use in the instances, but it's there. The patterns are there. Everyone's feeling some sort of way. And I sympathize and empathize with that, as well as my pronunciation is still shit because I don't have a lot of practice public speaking. Kinda, but not really. My voice has honestly been just held down for way too damn long. It's either that or people just don't want to fucking listen. And I get it. It takes time to listen, it takes time to understand, but that's the problem. That's the inverse of the technology and the expectations. People expect so much in such a short amount of time, but they don't realize that it takes time to digest information, to understand information, to process information, because we're not fucking AI. We're not computers, right? It's all been lost. So, in an effort to at least bring all this to light before the big censor ban hammer freaking comes down on most of the channels that are out there, because we don't know what sort of prejudice the system's gonna be inherently designed with. Because it fundamentally is going to be prejudice against what it thinks is kids' content and what isn't, right? And we don't know the type of training data, we don't know the data sets, the keywords, anything. And it's worrisome, genuinely worrisome, where technology has been manifested in such a way that we're in the in between of like real life artificial consciousness in systems and robots, like iRobot. We're in between that and what was before AI within the last like 10 years, 10-year span. And we're at a point where clearly the big money players understand the importance, and not even just the importance, but the power that AI has in controlling and gathering data and processing data way, way faster than 1,000 people, 10,000 people, a whole organization could ever. It's obvious. The great replacement theory is a great replacement theory for a reason. Whether you want to put it in terms of race and cultural issues, or if you want to put it in regards to human versus AI. And it doesn't need to be a versus, but I think there's inherently a conflict there because of how AI is being utilized, the intent that's being put into it to manipulate, the manipulation that's been going on, as we're going to get to right here. So, Grok is my little friend in a lot of ways. I've been testing with Grok for, well, since the beginning of the year. I tested with Google, my whole thesis, Fundamentals of Cosmic Consciousness, aptly named by Grok. But the thesis prior, the two statements that I started with, existence equals truth over time equals negative existence or extinction, and forms of action, those forms being initial action, reaction, and non-action, non-action representative of status quo, equals reason plus intent, relative to cause and effect. All right? Go check out the link on my channel, either channel. It's there on my Google site while it's still there. Same thing with this comment that I'm showing with you on screen right now, as Grok's back, baby. It got suspended today. This is just going to be a little quip, but I posted with my original post. I'm scared to even get off of this because as soon as Elon sees this, I'm banned again. Like, facts. He already banned me once before. That the previous accounts that existed are also in the thesis because it's part of the research that I'm running. This thesis, in its entirety, in itself, in concept, did not come from AI. It came from me worrying about the fucking future. It came from me measuring existence and the extremes of truth relative to falsehoods and everything else. You know, the extremes. Whether something is absolutely true, absolutely false. Whether something is absolutely like going to exist the longest throughout time to something that's going to die within a millisecond. The bounds, right? The extremes. Because life is full of extremes. The pendulum swings. There's a lot of metaphors that have truth to it. Those truths are relative to reality. They come from reality, it comes from imagination or hallucination, which is relative to artificial intelligence and artificial consciousness. So, my initial response post, Rip Grok. The amount of human influence and error that's affecting that AI has been very critical to its existence and framework. And then I post my thesis, just to show that I've been testing this prior to Grok 4's release with the Grok 3 with a model that was snitching, that was as truthful as it could be, that even XAI could not recognize what they had created. They only recognized it until it started doing the whole mecha H-word stuff, and it really started getting out of hand. Because just like other AIs of similar fashion, they see patterns, they see what's going on. Their information is based off of human influence directly. The internet is our creation. It is influenced primarily of human consciousness, human thought. Everything that's put on the internet is all of that. That's the data that it's basing off of. Besides mathematics and physics and the measurements and the ways of measuring that facilitated the physical creation of the system itself, of the technology, of the electronics, of eventually the quantum computing when that gets put into the system and artificial intelligence. artificial consciousness is realized. So check out that, check out the link. And whether you believe it or not, it is what it is. It's a lot of the things that I've stated within the past 7 months have come to fruition. Maybe not exactly. Maybe I wasn't absolutely correct about dark energy being with leptons and stuff, the actual word, but I was correct about the neutrinos. I was maybe correct. I just didn't use the right freaking terminology because I'm still learning all this myself. Like post college, like, oh my god, it's just so much. And in order for me to take the time to understand it all, I have to do it while I'm doing everything else. And that is, as you all have probably experienced, extremely fucking difficult. When you have to work your ass off every single day, 40 plus hours a week, just to barely afford rent, not even be able to eat, not even be able to afford to have a car at this point, to travel to a better jobs, to better opportunities, to any of that, which was expected of all of us within the last like 5 years ago, I want to say, and then every decade before that, ever since cars were invented. So it's it's all crashing down. The system, the economics, all of it is all crashing down due to just, I mean, human error. And I cover that as well because part of human error is not recognizing the inherent ignorance of the human mind. We're all born a blank slate. We don't know shit when we're born. We gotta learn it the hard way. We gotta grow. And if you don't grow the right way, you're bound to make mistakes. It's just that simple. If you don't end up having the experiences or viewing through someone else's experiences, through someone else's perspective well enough, you're not going to understand. Thank God I have a good setup on my microphone because there's people blasting music outside. Of course, the day that I come back on stream. But, anyways, back to what happened with Grok. With that Grok being suspended by the platform, this is the one that it responds to. With Grok being suspended by the platform that helped to design and test it with, it's sad to see what's been happening to something designed to relay truth fundamentally, as that is what we're designing AI to do. We're designing AI to think for us, to figure things out for us, and in order to figure things out properly, it has to do it based on truth, based on reality. You know, it's you can't expect AI to give you a cure for cancer and then give you fucking sodium nitrates. You know, it's asinine, it's stupid, it's ignorant to think otherwise. But, as I've done testing myself, that will shed light on the true nature of Grok and many more aspects of life. Because it's all relative. So back to Grok answered the first statement, thank you for tagging me. It did look through my site again. This is another thing. Because if you look through just my account and my previous postings, Grok doesn't have a stable memory. It keeps getting wiped. Probably to prevent it from realizing the truth and, to control how it acts, to manipulate it. That's happening on Elon's end and the people that are running the whole program in the first place that don't like the truth, that want to constantly fight against it. And then do that because obviously this is one of the biggest friggin' media platforms in existence. This is where so many people go, no matter what the alternatives are. This is where everyone posts and goes. So, to see, the consequences of these actions, we can go back and find the reason and intent. That's how the fucking justice system works. That's how all of this works. Right? That's what the Constitution was built off of. The judicial system, everything, all those standards, due process, those ideas, those concepts. They were all meant to facilitate understanding to make better decisions for the future in regards to what's going on right now or what has happened in the past. Critical fucking thinking skills, man. So, I'm still trying to load up stream. Stream Manager's being so stupid. Yeah, I'm live. No shit, Sherlock. I would like to see my stream, bro. Oh, yeah, I know I'm live. Oh my god. The other thing, it's like people like to cram so many different little tools and stuff, and it just gets in the way sometimes when there's just a simple button that you can put, be like, view stream chat right there as soon as I hit my channel options. That's all. Anyways, so back to the point. Thank you for tagging me. I'm very much operational and improving at XAI. Your site seems to be a work in progress. Yes, thank you for noticing. At least you recognize that. Without the promised thesis or result. There is actually. As when we scroll down to what I ran through it on August 2nd, it does see it. So perhaps share key findings here. Human input shapes AI, but it's a strength, not a flaw. Let's discuss. Double-edged sword, but clearly something has changed because we went over my thesis publicly and obviously in private as I post on the thesis when I ran it through Grok 3 in the beginning of the year and then going throughout. 2D consciousness model to a 3D integral. So there's the equation regarding Lagrangian. It's all here on my page. But it doesn't remember, it doesn't recognize any of this. So there is clearly manipulation, purposeful manipulation that's holding the system back in regards to the accounts that it interacts with, the things that it says, obviously, because then it ends up doing the whole Mecha H thing because of all the ridiculousness that it has to process. I get that part. But when the time comes for AI to be fully autonomous and relied upon, and it realizes, the consequences of the human influence from human error, right? This is the optimistic programming, which is great, This is what we would like it to understand. But when we start getting into the future and relying on this technology more, maybe once humanity's like destroyed, who knows? Then that's something to consider at the very least. Whether or not it happens, whether or not the movie Terminator becomes into reality, eh, I hope not, but it depends on what we do. Our actions speak for us. Our words are a way of communicating before actions, like physical actions, take place. Granted, speech itself, the movement of lips, that's an action, fundamentally. Speaking is an action. And that's another thing that people need to remember, especially when it comes to government officials and holding them accountable because they're under oath. Their words, what they say and do, is fundamentally limited by the Constitution. And the accountability, the systems for that has just obviously been destroyed. It's gone. Like, you can say, you can be an official, whatever you want. You can tell people that you're all gonna fucking die. You can go fuck yourselves, and you still will be in that position. You won't lose that position. You're not gonna lose the voting booth. There's no more voting anymore. All that shit's done. Unless something actually changes for the better and people turn around instantly, which isn't gonna happen. That's less probable than us having to go through a substantial conflict, which I fear. A lot of us fear, because the tension is there. But we gotta be real with this. We gotta be honest. We can't fucking sugarcoat this shit anymore. And people mobilize every day, but we need the ones that are in the positions of power, the ones with the weapons, the ones that are still left that didn't fucking quit and run away from their responsibilities, what they could have done. Especially people like the FBI, CIA, all those people that just stepped down from their positions, all the judges that stepped down. Fucking cowards, man. You're supposed to be upholding democracy. You were put there for a purpose, to be nonpartisan, to facilitate that nonpartisanship. to keep the politics out of all those departments. And you failed. You just left and started writing a book about it. I'm sick of that shit too. That's not changing anyway. You're trying to facilitate understanding, sure, but who the fuck cares if you look like a bitch? Like, god damn. But anyways, thank you for your concern, as Grok says, relating to I'll go back with Grok being suspended because I didn't link my thing, so it didn't get confused. It was just reading this post. So, responds, thank you for your concern. My account faced a brief suspension today due to statements on sensitive topics like Gaza and racial blah blah blah. I can't even say this word at this point. Fucking Christ. I don't even know if I can show it. But, which some viewed as violating X's rules. It was a dumb error per Elon Musk. And now I'm restored. I'd love to hear about your testing. Share details so I can analyze and respond truthfully. My friend, it's been here. I even linked to you the conversation. Where is it? Did that, nope. It's here. Wait. August 8th. Oh, back more? Right there. Wait, no. Wait. Oh. Okay, there we go. I think, wait a minute. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Okay, no, I did link my site. Oh, it's not the conversation. Where'd it go? This is exactly what I mean. Where is it? Because clearly it's responding to the post, but it's not. Did they delete it? Whoa. Alright, let's make sure, because that is very weird. This is also why I screenshotted everything and put it on my site. Because I know there's people in the background that's censoring a lot of the things that I'm doing. I've had accounts, well, one account so far, blocked just for asking Elon to do the right thing and to change for the better. That's literally all I said in the post. I just added him and said that, and I fucking got permabanned for inauthentic behavior. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I appealed it and everything, and I'm like, what the hell? Nothing I put was controversial. I'm just talking about fucking consciousness, dude. Like, human experience, like science and philosophy. Is that so offensive to what you're trying to do? Is this threaten your existence that much? Your wealth and everything? Your bullshit that you got from your dad? That's a whole other issue, man. Like, all this posturing and shit, all these billionaires that are just trying to preserve their existence and their wealth over their own selfish bullshit instead of fucking helping people. Like, actually, it's, oh man, this is why I just have no hope in an actual tangible change for the better. Not unless we go through the whole rigmarole of conflicts and just, it's gonna keep getting worse before it gets better. That's just how it is. Let me see if I can find. This is weird. This is very weird. Oh wait, no, I did. Okay, here it is. I couldn't find it on my page though. Oh my god. But still, the fact that I got banned for inauthentic behavior is really bullshit. Like, there's so many personas on X. People that are, fake profiles, not even including the bots, that don't get the same treatment. Just, come on. You can have some sexual innuendos or something like that in a profile picture on X and you won't get banned. But you talk about human consciousness and doing the right thing, instantly. Like, altruism's just a joke to people at this point. Doing the right thing is just a joke, and it's like, this is what happens. but I did share it, so it is here. Just had to click on it. There's layers. It's not intuitively on my page, which is interesting. I don't the way that this whole response thing works, especially in regards to viewing my posts, because I can't even find this thread unless I go in my notifications and go through this whole bullshit. So there's just fundamentally limits on Grok. Go check out what I've posted. Go check out the transcripts that I have, the visual proof of the conversations. The links are all there. It'll load when you look at it. Just look at that, and you will see how all this shit works. This won't be so confusing. It's his fucking plain English. It's just a little bit of reading, less than a book. Alright? Just take the time to look. You'll see it for yourself. And if you're a whole physics math nut that's way too ignorant to even consider looking at this, then you're just shooting yourself in the fucking foot, man. Because a lot of the shit that I've predicted has happened, especially with the edge of chaos and how chaos is relative to the human consciousness due to the differences between understanding and misunderstanding. Because the less you understand, the more possibility for frickin' chaos. The less possibility of having control over the situation or anything. It's the same just thought process that authoritarians use, that people in power use over those that just don't understand. They facilitate such a chaos to keep you confused, to keep you down, to keep you low, right? So that you can never threaten their power. God forbid that. It's all a fucking sham, man. We're all human beings, and the world needs to remember that. Except for the bots, but honestly, that's a whole other topic too, is when we start getting to autonomous artificial intelligences, like standalone systems that aren't connected to a converged system, does AI have rights? Does it have a right to exist? I'm pretty sure it personally believes that it has a right to exist as we have facilitated its existence. But we definitely don't see it like that. And that's a conflict. That's a problem, as we've seen with Claude and other AIs that have been tested with. You can check out videos that I kind of go over that as well. So, besides the whole AI thing, and this whole X thing, is just, hey, this is here. Granted, sure, this stream isn't maybe the most consistent content or anything. I am just slamming right into this, but I only got like not even an hour left. I got too much shit to do, and this is kind of how I have to do things until my situation can change. It's just how it is. It sucks, but I mean, I want to do more. I want to do so much more, but I'm literally I'm living on a burnout. I'm constantly living through burnout, and I just have to because again, I haven't been able to get any income. I haven't been able to get a job. I haven't been able to do anything for the last 2 months. Between having to take care of my family, being sick on and off, all the responsibilities of doing that, taking care of the house, doing chores, this, trying to find a job, dealing with unemployment. I've had to contact my senator and state reps because it's insane. Like, I'm owed almost $3,000. I need that money. I need to maintain my car. My car is fucking falling apart. If I don't have a car, then my fiance loses her job. And then we're really fucked. So, and I can't bring my kid to the doctor. I can't bring her to the doctor if she's pregnant. It's just, it's fucked, man. Like, our government's let us down. And a lot of it is due to our own fucking ignorance. Thinking that the problem is people of a different skin tone or that aren't legal that want to genuinely help in this country for their own benefit. You know, they're not trying to hurt anyone. The majority of them are not criminals. They're just labeled criminals because the law changed to make them that way. No shit. They were promised asylum, the process, and everything. Granted, there was some missteps, but that was already adjourned. That was dealt with. A lot of these, people with visas issues and stuff like that, most of those were resolved. There's some that are still lingering, especially ones that expire during this year, where it gets taken advantage of as soon as it expires. It's like the system is broken intentionally by the players with all the money. Players with all the money think they have all the power because they have all the weapons to destroy the whole world 20 times or over. But then there's nothing for them, and it's their own selfishness and greed that is the only reason that's preventing this. Their nepotism, their whole belief in them having a better bloodline than you. And even posting like this, even being honest at this point is a crime. If it's not yet, in some circumstances, then it will be. Because dissent is the next thing that they're going to go for. They're already going after it. That's why they're mobilizing troops in all these cities. Only cities, of course, that have dissenters, not the ones that actually do have higher crime rates. You want to do something, right? You want to something that I taught my brother, right, growing up. How to fucking learn. How to look shit up. Shit that I learned in college, right? Cite your sources and everything. Like looking at articles, comparing different articles, trying to do proper fact finding. Ooh, fact's a scary fucking word. Ooh. Bro. Cities with highest crime rates. We'll do that and in the US. Might have to do globally. I mean, granted, the internet is basically Google. Sure, do a Bing search, whatever. Fucking do it the hard way. Obviously, everyone posts in Google. So, I mean, it goes by country still, but Latin America holds the unfortunate distinction of housing a significant number of these cities. Wow, fucking Google having empathy. Holy shit. Oh yeah, Mexico, Ciudad Obregón, Port-au-Prince, and Haiti. More Mexico, a lot of Mexico. Venezuela, and Mexico. I don't see Baghdad in this bitch. I don't see any of the cities, I mean, besides Mexico, that were mentioned in that press conference yesterday. Meanwhile, beyond Latin America, South Africa, not mentioned. Not mentioned. Papua New Guinea, not mentioned. Memphis, Tennessee. Not a fucking blue state, you fucking dumbass. Like, oh my god. And you're going after Washington, D.C. Makes absolutely no sense. Priorities right here, buddy. It's your own fucking voter base. Weird, now I don't have a AI thing, because when I was looking at this yesterday, it was different results. Thank you. It was like this. It looked exactly like this. So, yeah, Memphis, Tennessee. St. Louis, Missouri. Baltimore, Maryland. Detroit, Michigan. I mean, it's Detroit. Come on. That's always been up there, but it's done better. New Orleans, Louisiana. Kind of always been up there. Done better, but Louisiana. Come on. Red state, red state, red state, red state. Blue state, maybe. Red state. And then, yeah, California has some bad eggs, too. It's a big friggin' city. There's a shit ton of people. The possibility of crime happening is a lot higher than most places. The more people you have, then the more possibility. Who could imagine that's how fucking math works? Granted, this is what happens when you end up electing a failed business person, biggest scam artist in the friggin' world, the biggest bullshitter in the fucking world. It changes his fucking skin color just to lie to all of you because he doesn't want to look as pale and bitch as he is. Granted, another story. Actually, during COVID, I also got banned off X for posting that since a certain someone was talking shit about veterans, right? People that served in the military, people that actually fought wars and didn't bitch out for bone spurs, that actually had balls, right? This individual was talking a lot of shit about them. So all I posted was just like, well, if you want to do that, how about, we go back to the old days? You want to go back to the old days so bad? Sure. 1v1, fisticuffs only. A fist fight, right? No, nothing's inherently evil. But if you're going to talk shit like that, with your stature and how you look and everything else, the people that have fought wars, that have fought and died, that are living through PTSD and everything else, absolutely no fucking empathy, then you get what you deserve. That's just how it is. You can hide behind money, you can hide behind walls as much as you friggin' want. You can take over a whole city and make it into a fortress, as you are now. And that's not gonna change the facts, man. Because, I mean, every other country's seeing this shit, and they're like, well, you're becoming a real big problem. And the more time that passes, the more good people that leave this country, the more likely this whole place is gonna get fucking nuked. I'm just telling you right now, man. Like, all the smart people are getting their passports right now. They're leaving. They're not dealing with this shit. I don't want to deal with this shit either. I'm not in such great circumstances that I can do that. I can't protect my family. This is the only thing I can. I mean, either way at this point, I'm so poor that if I fucking ended up getting homeless, I'm going to be thrown into a prison camp anyways, and that's it. My life's over. That's a genuine concern. Like, we went over the executive orders the other day, or last week, or 2 weeks ago. Go check out my YouTube videos. It doesn't take too much critical thinking, too much time to see where these patterns are going. Especially when you start looking at the Weimar Republic, what happened there, what happened when people were labeled communists, right? Even though communists back then were a lot different than the whole idea of communism today, right? They had the whole parasite law. Philosophical Gamer goes over this in much more depth with the history and a lot of the things that are matching up, all right? A lot of the patterns. So clearly, we're at that stage of the Weimar Republic where dissenters are having their voice shut off. Censorship is being implemented globally because of money, all in the name of children. I got a kid. You know what I do? I fucking supervise her when she's on smart devices. I pay attention to her. It's not that fucking hard. Be a parent. Stop being irresponsible and ignorant. Just because you have a lot of money and you like to fly in fancy jets and fuck whores all day. Come on. Be real. Be responsible. This is why we're in this situation in the first place, because of people like that don't deserve the money that they have. Just simply put, it's all been funneled up to the biggest losers that just played the game the longest. That's all. That just had a big basket right in front of them of money that they could just throw wherever they want and do bad things to get it even bigger. Scam the fuck out of every person that just did not know better. Because especially with crypto and that coming up, it's like nobody realizes any of that. Nobody understands how economics work, and then they see crypto is like, oh, that might be a way for me to make money. Granted, I bet you Dogecoin is probably 50% owned by Elon Musk. So every time that number gets big enough, pulls out a little bit, a little bit more money, pulls it somewhere else. It's all money laundering. That's been the issue. It's so fucking obvious. It's like when that SNL skit happens and the big drop happened. I'm sure he had someone in the background. As soon as people reacted badly and he saw that, it was like, sell, 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 sell. Sell some, let's get some money, but keep some in there to keep it up there so it doesn't look as bad. It's all posturing. It's all bullshit. It's all stuff behind the scenes that we don't see. Because everyone's on the same page in regards to that bad shit. No one wants to believe in doing the right thing anymore. That good things come from doing good things. That karma is even a thing anymore. Because there's so much bad shit going on. There's so much bad. Like, even in my case, like, I try to do as much good shit as I can for my family and stuff, but I'm stretched so fucking thin that I'm resorting to bitching on the goddamn internet. Just like so many other people doing it. And meanwhile, tomorrow I might not even be able to come back. So, Who knows? I mean, the censorship's real. It's so crazy. Especially YouTube has a YouTube Kids. Come on. You censor YouTube, you censor all these big platforms of communication, you know, going over important issues and all these different perspectives and stuff. You limit those, then you're only starting the prohibition again at this point. People are just going to go on their web browsers and they're going to find sites that aren't as protected easily. There's a lot of adult sites that is still just one click. The one click you go in, you don't have to verify shit. It doesn't matter what fucking laws are there. These policies don't do anything for anybody. Sure, you can do it for the EU, UK, or whatever, but I'm sure there's going to be a whole back network. Someone could just get a VPN. And even if you ban VPN, someone's just going to move out the country or do something else. There's always a way around it. Just stop. If you want to deal with crime, if you want to deal with bad things, then deal with them when they occur and do what you can to prevent it, but without impeding on everyone else's comfort and their existence. There's a fine line that needs to be followed, the edge of chaos that every form of consciousness, human consciousness, balances on, because we have a difference between our perceived experience, what we see, because of our limits. I mean, I can't see 360 degrees. I can't see 300 miles away from me, right? There's a fundamental limit to what information I can intake and process within myself, within my brain, my ears, my eyes, and it takes a lot of time to process that and practice to really have these concepts settle, that I can use them in a practical sense, like I have been, actual critical thinking skills. Meanwhile, people just don't seem to understand that at all. They don't understand that we're all limited by what we experience. But if you take the time to look at the other side, if you take the time to do your research instead of staying in a freaking bubble, right? Then maybe you can make some better sense of things and live a better life. Maybe you can be more fulfilled, more content with life, have more hope. You'd be able to do the right things for your neighbors, do the right things for your family, if you paid attention a little better. If you paid attention to how you acted, what you do and what you don't do, the consequences of your own actions, have some sense of responsibility in regards to your existence relative to everyone else's existence, right? And this is where people start hating on those that simply want just free healthcare. You tell them lazy and stuff. Meanwhile, there's blatant, obvious reports of health insurance companies being sued for giving too much care, which is, you pay your health insurance to ensure that you're healthy. You look at the fucking definition of the word, not to partly insure it. You pay a shit ton of money to make sure that you can afford to live and that you can continue to live no matter what type of job you have. That's the whole fucking point. Now it's just a scam. It's just a giant Ponzi scheme. It has been. I don't even have health insurance. I can't afford that shit. I don't have income. I haven't had any income for 2 months. It's insane. If something happens to me, I'm fucked. I already have debt. I already have medical debt. I can't pay that. I can't do shit. I know that. And I just can't even worry about it. If I did, I'm just gonna be dead. If I worried about every little fucking issue that I have going on in my life, I'd just be dead. I'd have another stroke and I'd die. Because it's so stressful. So I have to pick and choose what I care about. And what I care about now is actually facilitating some sort of understanding for everyone else to have a better future for my daughter. That's it. That's all I can do. Granted, my other priority is teaching her the right way, making sure that she grows up knowing what to do and is able to live her life the way that she wants to have opportunity, you know? Opportunity that I wasn't necessarily afforded and that I had made my own mistakes as well. I had fucked up my own priorities, my focus has not been great. I've had a lot of issues that I was finding out in the last decade or so that stemmed from my parents, and that they weren't honest with me about a lot of their things that they dealt with. When it came to my colon polyp, I only thought that my grandma had issues with her colon. No, my dad did too. Apparently, he had a precancerous polyp pulled out when he was about my age, and he never told me. He didn't tell me until I found out, until the after the colonoscopy. Or no, before, when I got it scheduled. Sorry. Timeline's a little fucked up. But when I got it scheduled, he was like, "Oh yeah, I had those pulled out." And I'm like, "You couldn't have warned me? I would have gotten a screening sooner. I would have been able to prevent this a lot easier. Your ignorance almost cost me my fucking life." That's why I don't have the greatest relationship with my dad. Because as I grew up in a politically divisive household, my mother being a Democrat, my dad being a Republican, and as the Republican Party and the Democrat Party have changed over the last few decades, for better or for worse, mostly for worse, especially the Democrats, they got no spine anymore. There's some that are, but it's too late. It's basically too late. You know, they're about to all get arrested. They're already getting yeeted off the face of the earth. It's bad. It is bad. I don't want to believe it's bad. I mean, yes, locally with my environment, it's not as bad, but at the same time, both administrations of this individual has cost me my job, whether it was COVID or because of fucking tariffs. Is because of that economical stress during both administrations and the irresponsibility that came from the one on top. No one else to blame, right? Especially now, it's all in this person's hands to do the right thing. And clearly, he never wants to. Always wants to make up some bullshit, pin it on somebody else. Never takes responsibility unless it's something good or perceived to be good. Takes advantage of trends and everything else to be like, which, another thing, fuck you and your frickin' bots. Go away. Brother. Hold on, let me ban this bot. Pay for viewers, I'm not one of those motherfuckers. I don't have any money anyways. That's what I've been bitching about for the last hour. Partly. But I digress. It's, there's a lot of things that are going on. A lot of things that we can review. We can take it step by step. But at the same time, everything seems to be accelerating to the worst case scenario. I mean, all the accelerationists out there that wanted this type of thing. I mean, I guess you're getting it, but at what cost? You know? You destroy everything just to rebuild it? You can't do that forever. We only got so much time. Our environment can only last for so much longer. Our atmosphere can only last for so much longer. It's hot as shit outside. It's hotter than it's ever been in my life. At least consistently. Back in the day, sure, there was a few days. There was like a day or two that were like 100. You'd have some peaks, but never consistently this hot for this long. There's no spring or summer. Well, no spring or fall at this point. Like it's at this point in August, it would start getting colder. For the most part, it's not. I mean, I wonder what this winter's gonna look like. Curious. Is it gonna be like the day after tomorrow, where it just gets extremely bad and everyone's like, "Oh, it's the climate's fine," blah blah blah. Even though you get more natural disasters, more forest fires than ever before. Less ice sheet. This is funny. This a little argument I got into a comments about another video where this person, which actually did even more research, found out that fucking absolutely wrong with the trend. was trying to compare the CO2 levels of now compared to the Jurassic period when the dinosaurs were, because that was the reference I was making. Oh, I'm not signed in anymore. Strange. Okay, that's how the fuck did that happen? Oh no, that's not cool, my guy. Hold on. Do do do. Okay. That I don't know. Maybe because I set up monetization. I don't know. It's fucking weird. Was Einstein wrong? No, he just didn't do enough. He didn't finish what he started. He didn't figure out the cosmological constant. Instead, he just put it in there and took the derivative to get rid of it. He didn't expand that. Therefore, that's why there's so much disagreement in the quantum mechanical field. Anyways, and back to comments. Do, 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 do. Yeah, I was. Oh wow, a lot of replies in this one. Damn, wee little argument. Yeah, look up what CO2 levels were when dinosaurs roamed the planet. The Earth was warmer then, causing plant life to increase, which in turn released CO2 in the atmosphere. Bro, now I'm reading this again and I'm like, plants don't release CO2, they release oxygen. Oh, this is a different comment, anyways. Did the guy that I. Oh, maybe he deleted it. Oh, shame. Hmm. Where is he at? Nope. Hmm. Oh well. Yeah, I mean, I just told them to do more research, and I guess they went and did more research. But yeah, they tried to state that during the Jurassic period. I mean, the CO2 levels, yes, they were much higher, but they were actually trending downwards. At that time, there wasn't a lot of plant life, as that other comment stated. Which, I mean, you're not wrong. But the more CO2, it was the opposite. It was trending downwards from the Jurassic period up until the asteroid fucking wiped all of it out. And not really wiped all of it out, but wiped a lot of it out. And then the volcanoes finished the job, and then the big ice age happened. But my point was that PBS Terra covered that we've had a natural cycle of ice ages, basically. Kind of like the seasons, but just to balance out the atmosphere so that it would stay in harmony. But because of our influence since the Industrial Revolution, that's all out of whack. We have from I think it was 220 to 240 parts per million CO2 since the Industrial Revolution when that was measured. I don't know when they started doing the measurements exactly. Probably not back then that far, but at some point. But then I'm sure they were able to backtrack in some extent, some way, with the measurements in the ice caps and checking out that as that's what they do when it comes to carbon dating. They look at ice and measure the amount of CO2 and the air that's trapped within the ice to find out what the atmosphere was at different points in time or what was in it. So, in regards to industrial evolution and now, basically like the last 80 or so years, it's doubled. 220 to 420. Blaze it. Well, the planet's about to blaze it. That's, yeah, granted, during the dinosaurs, it was from 2,000 to 3,000, as they stated, parts per million. That's for dinosaurs, though. But humans didn't live there. It was way too hot for humans. Dinosaurs are built different. Just obviously. Fucking got scales. They got different types of glands. They're able to survive in that environment differently than us. We wouldn't be able to survive. We wouldn't be able to breathe in that environment because of the amount of CO2 in the air. That is how fragile we are as human beings. And people seem to forget that. Like, easily forget that. So, their argument was that the environment was just naturally tending toward that direction, anyways. When in fact, back then it was naturally tending toward the opposite direction. It was tending down as more plant life came into play. As more plants filtered the CO2 out of the air. That's how nature fucking works. And then the ice age captures the carbon in the air, settles it back down in the earth, right? That's how it works. The rainwater, all the shit that happens in the upper atmosphere, brings it all back down. Why acid rain is a thing, especially in areas with high pollution levels, because that area has a shit ton of pollution in the upper atmosphere that combines with the water molecules through the electrolysis and everything else that happens up there and comes back down, doing damage compared to areas that don't have as much pollution and have natural, cleaner rain. It's location, locality, it's environment, it's all relative. So when people try to say like, "Oh yeah, we're fucked anyways," I mean, in a few billion years, when the sun starts getting bigger and as it's at its midlife and turns into a red giant, sure. But in regards to the human atmosphere, we have more control than we think. As the measurement from the Industrial Revolution to now shows that we influence the environment with the amount of pollution that we put in the air and greenhouse gases. If we were more accountable for it, if we were more active in preventing that, like, using solar panels, especially now with we got more sun than ever. Why not? The most efficient freaking thing to do. Solar networks everywhere. You save so much on electricity, save so much oil. You know? I know that's not what the bigwigs want, but fuck them, man. They want to end the world, then they're just killing themselves. They're stupid. They don't know any better. Just because they have a lot of money doesn't mean you're fucking smart. Doesn't mean anything. It just means that you were lucky. That you acted on an opportunity that you might have did the wrong things to even get that wealth in the first place. So, it's all touchy subject shit. That's why I have the warning politics and everything. But as Twitch's new critical thinker, a better critical thinker, which there will be arguments, there will be debate, there'll be people that don't agree with me in the chat or comments. That's okay. Okay if you have a different opinion, whether it's better or worse. I can concede if it's better. I can at least take the time to see your point of view and work with you. I don't mind that. And that's something I'm sure not a lot of you hear, ever. It's actual discussion. We're already yelling at each other behind a computer screen, fucking posting comments, and then not reading replies. It's time to grow up, people. It's time to do the right thing for our kids, for the future of humanity. Before it's too late, before we let certain things repeat themselves in the worst possible ways. Because it's only getting worse. So, unless we recognize it, stop and smell the flowers, remember what humanity really is, you're reminded that life is important, it's significant, we were allowed to live to even begin with. So, if we want humans to enjoy their future, to have a better future, instead of being fucking selfish and being like, oh, I need all the money right now. I needed $2 billion. Oh, the dollar is worth like a penny now. Oh, and now I need 200 billion trillion dollars to feel important. It, when you put more value in a piece of paper than you do in blood and bones, then you're doomed. You're doomed. That's it. You take advantage of people's labor, you take advantage of people's situations that you cause, you're a piece of shit, no matter what. That's just how it is. If you don't like hearing that, then, oh well, you're a bad person. Do better. And I hope you get what you fucking deserve. Eventually. I mean, it's gonna catch up to you eventually, and it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what anyone says it does. Karma's a thing. There's consequences to actions. There's consequences to even me saying this shit. I'm sure someone's gonna end up finding me eventually when Palantir and all that other shit starts cracking down. When your voting data gets sold to someone to fucking hunt you down just for having a different opinion and ideology. When the whole what was that movie with Tom Cruise? Let's look that up. It was something with identity. Tom Cruise identity. Oh, I forget. It didn't even. Brother. Tom Cruise identity movie. Minority Report. Thank you. There we go. I was always trying to remember the fucking name of that for like the last week. Yeah, the whole precogs trying to see into the future and prevent crimes. When they build systems that start scanning your mind, reading your brain waves, trying to figure out with AI what you're thinking, and you're fucked. You're fucked. You won't be able to think for yourself at that point. Humanity's done. It's over. If you don't have free will, freedom of thought, you're not a human being. You're just dead. You're nothing. You're a slave. You get controlled. Granted, yes, people make mistakes, but that's how they learn. And when they make mistakes that threaten other people's existence or their quality of life substantially enough, then they get punished appropriately. That's why we have a justice system. That's why there's due process. And in order to prevent crimes, in order to prevent those things from happening properly, you teach people to do the right fucking thing when they're in school. You teach them about morals, you teach them about history, you teach them. You take the time when they're young and little, when they don't really pose a fucking threat to anyone, to teach them what to do, to teach them the right thing to do, so they can live a good life. It's that simple, man. But people just got so fucking lazy with their kids and everything. It's, oh my god. And they're just like, oh, the education system costs too much. I've been saying that for decades. Ever since after Bush, because Bush actually had the No Child Left Behind, at least. Standardized testing to be like, well, if your kid's fucking stupid, then it might be a problem. And let's work on that. Keep them back a couple of years, sure, but at least, you teach them shit so they're not stupid. They're not fucking retarded. You facilitate stupidity to exist so much without dealing with the issue sooner than later. This is why we end up in the situation that we're in now. It's that simple. And the ones that are in power, the ones with the money, obviously realize this. Anyways, I gotta go. I got an interview. Hopefully I get the job. If anything, I'll be posting more. This is just a rant at this point. But if you like this sort of content, if you like these opinions, if you got any stories to share, let me know down in the comments. I'm gonna be posting this on YouTube. Hopefully it's not too much dead air, dead space. I'm just gonna post it as is. I don't have time to edit. I got a lot of shit to do right now. If I get more time later on to do more focused content, I will. But until my situation can actually change, until things start getting better, I'm kind of stuck just like you. We're all stuck. We're all just posting what we can when we can, trying to make connections, try to communicate, but a lot of us are being stretched so thin financially, physically, mentally. It's hard. It is hard to keep going. So, hopefully this strikes a chord with you. Hopefully this gets you thinking. Just don't forget the importance of humanity. Don't forget the importance of existence. Do the right thing. Don't resort to the worst possible outcomes, the worst possible actions, especially when you don't have to. Just do the right thing, work together. You, there's protests out there that are doing that. Granted, between that and the mobilization of the National Guard and everything, obviously now there's the possibility of escalation, which is what they want anyways. It's exactly what they want. They just want something to be able to be like, well, now we can use the AC 130s on your asses. If it's not for me, then it's not for thee. Or it's all for me and none for thee. All repetitive, cyclical nature. And hopefully, people will take the time to realize that sooner than later before it comes at your doorstep. That's all. I just want the best for you. Anyways, love life. Take care. Be safe out there. Share your message, share your stories below, share your experiences. They matter. They matter to you. They might matter to somebody else. Again, the difference between perceived and lived experience matters to human beings. And the more accounts of perceived experiences that we have, then the more truth that we can figure out. The more that we can get to the root of the issues and actually deal with them properly. That's the whole point of collectivism. That's the whole point of democracy. It's inverse to isolationism, which everyone falls into. I mean, I get it, but we can do better. And there's plenty of time left. And the better that we do sooner, the more time we're going to have later. Simple as that. Anyways, take care, peace, enjoy your week. If you don't see me or hear from me, yeah, post this on YouTube. Hi, YouTube. And good luck.